Welcome to the Concordia College Football Show with Coach Terry Horan. I'm your host, Norman Bell. Terry, it's always nice to end your day with that song. Huh?
Amen, brother. That song never gets old, and even late at night when we return back to the locker room, and it's just that traditional piece that we do after a win, and love to see the smiles of our players after a tough week of practice and getting over that St. Thomas bite and to come out and play the way we did in all three phases. That's the icing on the cake right there. So, yeah, and a lot of the guys were saying this has been just too long of a wait. It had only been a couple weeks, but it was just good, really sweet.
Yeah, you never really play the perfect game, but despite a few penalties and maybe a few miscues here, I couldn't see you guys doing any better.
I'll tell you what, I'm so fired up to get out to our walkthrough today and go through our goal board because I haven't slapped as many C's on the board, I think, since we've been doing this. We pretty much covered the board up with Cobber C stickers. So I'm pretty proud of our staff, obviously, and our players for executing. And we did exactly what we wanted to do. We wanted to establish ourselves offensively right out of the gates. We were able to do that. We got a great kickoff return to start the game by Jason Montoni, went about 35 yards. And then we went 61 yards on 5 plays and a 41-yard scamper by Blake Craigness, who, with your backup quarterback, you want to get that confidence established early. And we were able to do that. And our defense, man, what can you say about these guys? I mean, we get a goose egg. It's the first time we've had a shutout since 2010 when we beat Valley City State 42-0. And really, it's the first time of a conference team since 2005 of beating Gustavus 30-0 on homecoming. They don't come by. I mean, they're hard to come by. And give our defensive credit. I thought special teams was rock solid, too. We got a block punt by Mason Griefey. Tony Kostelecki constantly has just been, a rock star since week 1. He was 6 for 6 on PATs and 1 for 1 on a field goal. So that was a great day at the office. And when you can go on the road and shut out somebody on their home field, you're doing some pretty good things. And offensively, we kept Spriggs off the field. I think they had their lowest offensive output of the season, 142 yards of total offense, minus 41 rushing. So great day for everybody.
Wow. We're going to go ahead and look at those first half highlights. Spriggs is a really probably one of the best quarterbacks in the conference.
He is, and he's a big kid. He's got a strong arm. He's just he's got a good presence on the field. Here's the opening KOR, and he gets hit, but his strong legs keep going. He was able to kind of find a little crease, and he went for, I think it was about a 35-yard gain. Blake stepping up, making a nice little jet route. It was a comeback route, actually, to Kevin Marzlov. Kevin was able to get the first down to keep the drive alive. And here's a little midline option that Blake was able to keep. He found a crease, and the big dog is off to the races. Look at 1-6, getting in the end zone for his first collegiate score. That's pretty cool. Getting some love from the boys. Got to love that. So that's good. And here's Tony Kostelecki. Like I said, I've been so proud of him. He's one of my pleasant surprises this year. And after kind of a struggle down at Wesleyan, he's really kind of focused in on his game. And there he got a little kiss off the upright, so you know you're living right when you get that. So 7-0 Cobbs, put our D's to work. D's came out, and obviously each and every week we want to stop the opponent's run, even knowing that Hamline is a passing team, but you want to make them one-dimensional, and our D's were able to do that. And we got them to punt right out of the gates. Ball's on the 5-yard line, and we go to work.
It's nice to see Michael Heitzman get a lot of playing time.
Yeah. We had a couple of injuries, but he's a young man that transferred into us from Gustavus. He's a Wilmer boy, so I've known him growing up, and he's got good speed and quickness, and he had a really good day. Here's a nice catch by Montoni, a little underthrown.
With one hand.
One hand, I know. Look at that. He's got that club on his left hand. And here's Heitzman again. Just a little scat back, fits our slot positioned very well. And there's Chad going in for the record breaker, and so proud of him. I did tell him, I said, the third guy on the list was a lot harder catching 70-yard bombs than 2-yard runs. So until he ran a 45-yarder, and he comes back and he says, "How about that one, Coach?" So no, it was Chad's. He's got this new record. Now the next one in sight is the all-time leading rusher. And I coached a young man by the name of Corey Johnson, who was an incredible back out of Moorhead, and he's 272 yards away from being our all-time leading rusher. Pretty cool. Wow. Well, the highlights just keep coming. Good pressure there by Hayden, and then we get the sack, and I think he ends up getting the ball back, because we only had one recovery on the day. But Spriggs, we put some pressure on him. We schemed him up really well. Hats off to our defensive staff for having a great plan on these guys. Here's another little jet route out to Kevin Marsloff. One thing about Blake's got a live arm. He can throw the ball, which is nice. We didn't throw the ball a whole lot in the second half, really didn't need to. But as you can see there, he's got nice strikes. He's a big presence back there. He makes us more two-dimensional, which is always tougher to defend.
Yes.
Here he comes out with a little pitch to Jason Montoni, and we get some extra yards. And here's the field goal right before half to put us up 17-0, I believe. So 17-0, and just got under it a little bit. Didn't kick it as deep as we would have wanted him to, and we got to wrap up a little bit better there. But pretty good day all in all. We did get our goal for keeping them under 20 yards on a return. Here's they've got some weapons, and this is that was the freshman that from Florida was the player of the week. And here in the red zone, they were 0 for 1 in the red zone, and we recovered a fumble. Yeah. Our defense, our goal each and every week is in the red zone defensively is 50%, one of two. And we've been able to get that goal all season long. Offensively, we've been able to get that goal all season long other than St. Thomas, okay? So what we want is 100% of scores in the red zone offensively. And we've been able to do that, and we did that on Saturday with being 4 for 4 in the red zone.
Going into the locker room with a 17-0 half, I would love to know what the message was for the guys.
Yeah, really, 17-0, still a lot can happen, okay? And we, I know offensively and defensively, we just got right down with our groups and just talked about, some of the things we were seeing and just continue to keep doing what we're doing. I mean, we pretty much scored on every possession. And defensively, we were flying around making plays. We knew we were kicking off and that they would get the ball right away, so we wanted to send the message, and we actually tried a little pooch kick off to the right that we were just off on. They got the ball at midfield, but our defense came out and did a spectacular job. I thought the third quarter we really dominated. I mean, I think we scored 21 points in the third quarter, and that's when the rain started happening. And, boy, when the rain comes, that neutralizes things and slows things down a little bit. And it just seemed like we just kept going and going and going. It was a 60-minute effort by our team. And again, the bad taste that we had in our mouth from the week prior with the Tommies, we talked about we didn't want the Tommies to beat us twice. And it was so nice to see in all three phases our football team playing really lights-out football.
Awesome. When we return, we'll take a look at those second-half highlights. Welcome back to the Concordia College Football Show with Coach Terry Horan. Terry, 17-0 into the locker room. Guys came out, still had that fire in their eyes.
Yeah, they did. They really did. We have 4 games left. At that time, you just, you got to take it one step at a time, and we're in a great position, okay? Just to continue to keep doing what we're doing and get better each and every week. And I was proud of our, you could see our focus was there. 17-0, anything can happen, but we were playing really good football, and it continued in the third quarter, and that's when it won out. There hasn't been many games where we've gotten into the fourth quarter where, we were starting to put our 2s and a lot of our 3s in, and pretty much everybody was able to get into the game. And, I know there was a couple defensive players that weren't able to get into the game at the end, but they were going in if they would have been able to get on the field one more time. So when you go on the road and you got 60 guys that are dressing and you can play pretty much all of them, that's a pretty good day.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at those second half highlights. As you mentioned, the rain did come out. You guys have all your rain stuff on now.
Yeah, threw on the rain gear. It was good. There was our little pooch kick. We tried to get Chad Johnson the ball. Chad said it was a mile away from him. And when you look at that pretty closely, I'd like to beg to differ there a little bit. So we were giving him a hard time, and Coach Mistro was already telling me he was fired. He was fired from that spot. So. But here's great, there's Andrew Thompson and doing a nice job of holding up Spriggs out of bounds. And we were getting close. We were getting close for pretty much most of the day on the punts. And then Mason Griefey ended up getting one. I'm sure it'll probably be on here a little bit later. But here's a big third down play. Chad gets off 45 yards on a little toss play. And, Chad doing what Chad does best. You find some open space. He's got incredible eyes. Here's Heitzman. Getting up the field and a little extra. Yeah, look at he got 6-7 extra yards on his own there. So good little back. And here's Dane Ringquist getting into the end zone too. The pause man. I love that when they say you look at his jersey number and his 2 1s are so close together that they call him the pause. The pause man. So yeah, Dane's a good player, and he ended up getting another touchdown on the end of the day too. So here we come down. We were squib kicking into the wind with it wet. That ball does a lot of funny things, and we were able to do a pretty good job of corralling with our KO coverage.
They just couldn't seem to get anything going offensively.
No. There was Kyle Martin actually coming off the edge there along with Evan Defer, and played it really, really well. D-line was doing some really good moves to create some seams, and saw a screen pass coming and gets knocked down. Here's Mason Griefey's block, and our guys do a nice job. They're coached up. Look at all the white shirts staying away. We block the ball. It crosses the line of scrimmage. We're yelling, stay away, Peter, get away, and they all did it. So they did what they were coached to do, and Chad's in the end zone for another time.
It's a great day by him.
Great day by him. 154 yards rushing, 3 TDs. It was great to see.
31-0.
Yep, 31-0. About 6 minutes left in the third quarter. Another squib kick down the middle. Look at this play by Trey Oswald. He's got a single leg takedown. I was giving him a hard time on that. Bringing out the wrestler in him. Look at our white shirts getting there. Just awesome to see. And Mason almost got another one here. He's pretty close. But he shanks it. I think the pressure just kind of ended up getting to him a little bit. Here's Chad, one of the best runs of the day. He just has got a great sidestep skip. And this was just a little option play. And he read it perfectly. And actually, Blake read it perfectly, too.
The line doesn't have to give him much space.
No, he's got such great vision. I don't know if I've ever had a coached a back that has the vision like him. And the fact that how he can make this jump cut and then get going, at top speed within seconds, So pretty nice to see. They did throw the rag on that, and they ended up picking it up. It was good. Then it was a great no call. Again, was they thought maybe he was targeting, but they did a nice job of getting together. And now we get into the fourth quarter. That's our pride quarter, and you never want to give up any points. Here's one of our young guns, and Riley Sheridan out of Fergus Falls. He had two rushes back-to-back for over 15 yards. He puts his foot in the ground as well as I've seen. And Jeff Mumm, one of the coaches, a longtime coach up at Thief River Falls, was telling me that when we got Riley Sheridan out of Fergus Falls, he said, you guys are getting a great back. In all the years that I've coached, I've never coached against a better one. And Riley has a huge upside for us.
That's quite the compliment coming
very
from the
much
coach.
so. Yep, very much so. Yep. 45-0, 10:59 to go. Nice little read by Noah Welsh, and he played that perfectly. Just kind of feathered the option and then took away the shovel.
Your defensive line just pinned their ears back on this drive.
Back, yeah.
Everyone got a piece of Spriggs.
Yeah, it was. Again, it was Spriggs' lowest output of the year. You know.
Carson.
Yeah, we got some new guys getting in there, getting some opportunities. It's great to see, and here's Simon Casper coming off the edge, getting a big sack. Got Carson Thunheim in there. Lenny, they call him. They're all chanting Lenny when he was walking onto the field and actually running onto the field. Well, if you can call that a run, I don't know. Here's Logan Hatfield, young man out of Bemidji, who's got a big upside to him as well. This ended up getting called back because of a kind of a phantom hold by Hans Solberg, but the game was over, you know, and we weren't going to argue any of that. So we took a couple knees, and then we're going over to our fans that stayed out there in the rain and singing our school song and over the loudspeakers. The loudspeakers were playing some tunes, so we had to try to beller it out, and boys did a good job. So it's good to see the crowd, and most of them were Cobbers.
Yeah. So what's going to be the message this week going into a game against Augsburg, whose offense seems to be putting up a lot of points?
They're putting up a lot of points. They really are. They're averaging about 30 a game. They're averaging almost 300 yards passing a game. They're about a 60-40 pass to the run. And it's typical Augsburg. It's a lot of zone read stuff. They've got a transfer quarterback, kid out of Robbinsdale Armstrong that went to Itasca Community College, so he's a junior. But, you know, he's been in their system for the year now, and he can chuck it. He really can. He's got two really good receivers, you know, one that's averaging a little over 100 yards a game, the other one about 78 a game. Defensively, they're a 3-4 defense. So they're always got good size. They always have great athletes. They really do. So they're a team that they can strike at any time. You know, they've lost, I think, 3 of the last 4 games. You know, but they're always feisty, and they're always tough to play against, and we need to be ready. I mean, we still kind of control our own destiny here, all right? We got 4 weeks to go, and we focus 1 week at a time. Our goal again this week is to be 1-0 at the end, and we'll get with our team today. We'll celebrate, you know, our victory over Hamline again by going through all of our awards, but then it's focusing on Augsburg and doing our walkthroughs and getting them in right. We're back at home. It's mid-sem break, so it means it's probably going to be a little bit quieter in the stands. I know the band probably isn't going to be there, but what we want to do is if any student body is going to watch this, please stick around. We'd love to have you at the Jake on Saturday at 1 o'clock and then head home after the game.
Well, when we return, we'll talk to junior center Brandon Bundgaard. Welcome back to the Concordia College Football Show with Coach Terry Horan. I'm now joined by junior offensive lineman Brandon Bundgaard. Brandon, thanks for joining the show, big guy.
Of course, anytime.
Moorhead kid, right? Moorhead Spuds?
Yeah, right here.
There's a number of you guys on the team right now.
Oh, yeah.
Moorhead's always been a really good feeder for the Concordia College football program.
Yeah, right in the backyard.
Yeah. What made you decide to continue that long line of Spuds to Cobbers?
Well, you know, wasn't ready to hang up the cleats just yet. Too much fun playing this game. Talked to Coach Horan. He's real excited to get us in here, you know. Got some friends over here. Eric Bai, I think, was the last Cobber. There's a couple-year gap. So started up again. Come over, and I had legacy family that went here. My mom and dad and my aunt all went here. So good fit.
So it was just a natural transition.
Oh, yeah, easy.
Political science major. What would you like to do with that?
Well, right now it's between law and national security. So both are really interesting, but I think it'd be I'm leaning towards the route of national security, kind of CIA, keep our interests intact. So
what's it like juggling that type of degree with being a football player?
It's a lot of paperwork, honestly. A lot of writing, a lot of reading, but once you get the groove down, it's really not too bad.
Concordia is a very challenging academic school.
Mm-hmm.
What's that environment like? Do you get the help you need? How the teachers accommodating?
Oh,
Especially
yeah.
when you're an athlete.
Oh, yeah. We talk about football in half our classes. They ask us how we're doing, just having a great time. they're usually pretty accommodating. We get our work done. We all work hard. It's kind of why we're here. So.
Yeah. Now you're quietly going to go down in the records books for having blocked for the all-time touchdown leader,
I guess,
in school history. That's got to be kind of cool, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I didn't even know he was close to the record when we started, but anybody that's back there will block for him.
Yeah.
So.
You guys don't really have to give him much room, and a lot of the times he's running in one of your gaps.
Oh yeah.
Typically, and he just makes a cutback and he's gone. What?
He's fast.
You trying to chase him?
I'm never gonna catch him, but he's gone. He'll make a cut and he's gone. But we do our job. We body up, assignment sound. He's in the end zone.
That's a decision for an offensive lineman, whether to chase or just kind of jog back. Because if he gets caught, then you have to stay out there for another play. Mm-hmm. And you're running wind sprints out there.
Yeah.
So, Peter Griffin, the Family Guy. What's that about?
Oh man, it started in high school. A couple of running backs started calling me that. Look a little bit like him, I guess. And I'm not a skinny guy, but they said I look like him and I laugh like him sometimes. So.
Okay. Women's beach volleyball. You tell me a little bit about why you would like to participate in women's beach volleyball, because my theory is something else. So I just want to get yours.
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to participate. I'm not very good at it, but I'd sure like to go watch.
I love your honesty. Your honesty. Congratulations on a great game last week. I know it had to feel good to get back on the winning side of things.
Yeah. Tough week against St. Thomas. I got taken out of the game, unfortunately, with an injury. Kind of got that taken away from me, but good to be back. Good to bounce back.
Yeah, it was scary. I saw you come out of the game at St. Thomas with a nice gash under your eye. It was bleeding pretty good, and I was worried for you for a second because I was under the impression you were coming back in at some point, and you ended up having to go to the hospital. Is everything okay now?
Yeah. We went to the hospital because my pupils were a little dilated, and they wanted to make sure there's no brain damage. So, but hey, in the end, I got lucky, I guess.
Yeah.
Get to keep playing.
So, what do you like to do in your free time? You hunt or fish or?
No, not a hunter, not a fisher. Like to hang out with friends, watch movies, play some PlayStation.
That's your thing?
Yeah.
PlayStation.
It's good time.
When I get a chance, I'll turn it on, but I usually don't. I usually never get to finish a game because somebody's begging for the TV.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Enjoy that while you can do it.
Yeah, well, me and the tackle, Jordan Christensen, we got a 2K little rivalry going. Yeah.
Who you play with?
I play with, I like a little Dr. J from back in the day. I call him Silky Smooth.
I appreciate that,
He's
man.
quick.
I like that.
He's fun to play
with.
with.
You recognize the old school guys.
Yeah.
Okay, who does he go with?
Oh, he goes with...
Does he go old school too?
We play old school sometimes, but, I always dunk on him, but he just shoots threes. So he can't win when you just shoot threes the whole time.
You got to go with,
I think he's edging me out now.
I guess you got to go with what you think you're good at.
Yeah. I love LeBron, so I'll play with him too. But.
Well, thank you for joining me, Brandon.
Thanks so
I really
much.
appreciate it. Brandon Bundgaard, junior offensive lineman.
You okay, you guys? Keep working. Every play. Nothing but 100% effort, guys.
Welcome back to the Concordia College Football Show with Coach Terry Horan. I now have the pleasure of being joined by legendary Minnesota Football Coaches Association Hall of Famer, Larry Knutson.
My pleasure to be here.
Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it.
This is something we look forward to, is being able to visit with you on game day.
Yeah.
As we talk about Cobber football and talk about how things develop and how things go on through the course of a day.
Yeah. Larry, I honestly, man, it's really, we joke around a lot, but it's really awesome to be able to work with a legend like you. I learn things. I'm just slowly listening to you, I should say, because I'm usually on the field, but I'm listening to you through the IFB. You guys come to me for brief updates or whatever, but I'm just taking notes, and it's no better honor than to take notes from a real legend.
It's fun to work with someone like Chris Ohm, who does the color commentary as well. So the three of us, I think we've got a pretty good camaraderie, a pretty good thing going with the way we're able to communicate the game. I hope the listeners also appreciate what they're hearing and that they are hearing the correct thing.
Yes. when did you get started in radio, and especially in the college realm of things?
Well, the first game that I ever broadcast was, ironically, at my hometown of Ashby. And that afternoon we had done, Jack Brush at KBRF in Fergus had asked if I would come along, or I asked if I could go along with him. And he allowed me to do statistics and a wrap-up between Battle Lake and Henning. And that during an afternoon game that night, we ended up in Ashby playing the old arch-rival Underwood. And at the end of the first quarter, Mr. Brush says, "Okay, take over."
Just out of the blue.
Out of the blue, second quarter, all of a sudden I'm doing play-by-play of a football game. And I also did, I think it was the fourth quarter, and we wrapped it up from there. And it kind of was, that was the bite that got me, because from there on in, it was just a matter of making it work.
Yeah. Now, you and Terry have a little history before Concordia College. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, as it turns out, he was about 9 or 10 years old, and his family lived in Morris. And Morris was one of the first radio jobs that I had where I was allowed to do play-by-play football, basketball. And he and another gentleman by the name of Tony Satter, who became a legend in his own right as a running back at North Dakota State, were ball boys for that team. And one of the assistant coaches was Rich Glass, who just recently resigned from Concordia as the head basketball coach. He was the head basketball coach at Minnesota Morris at the time, but also an assistant football coach.
I never knew that.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that was fun. And one of the very first games college games that I did was, I can still envision Concordia running down the field at Minnesota Morris and onto the field to play to take on the Cougars. Little did we know at the time the significance of that as far as my own career was concerned.
Right. And when did you become the voice of the Cobbers?
Somewhere in the early 80s, we had kind of an agreement between the schools. The radio stations at that time were not real aggressive in going out on their own to get games on. It was just a lot of work on their part to do so. And so we agreed that 2 years we would do Minnesota State Moorhead, 2 years we would do Concordia. Well, by the time we got to the end of that second year of Concordia, which was in the early 80s, things kind of settled a little bit, and we stayed with it. And Concordia then has been on the air ever since.
Now, people will also recognize your voice as the voice of the Spuds.
Yeah.
How do you juggle both of those jobs with all the travel? Because Friday nights you're wherever the Spuds are, and Saturday morning you show up wherever the Cobbers are.
Well, fortunately, the distance between where the Spuds play and the Cobbers play is not insurmountable. We can get from here to there with enough time to spare generally to get the paperwork done, get the lineups ready, and get the game on the air.
Now, this year with WDAY, they've taken on basketball also.
Yes. Yep.
You're going to be calling basketball games also.
We can't thank Mike Capel enough at WDAY for being such a willing partner in this. And then, of course, you can't do that without the partnership of people who understand the importance of having games like basketball on the air and the football games on the air, so that the students and the parents and the family members who can't make it to a game are still able to stay involved and be involved with the student athlete.
Now, tell us a little bit about the honor you received last spring.
It was a nice thing.
You can talk a little bit more. Don't be so modest.
Well, you know, the funny thing I had about it, the concern I had about it, it was going to be presented on April 1st. April Fool's Day. I thought this was all going to go away and it would never happen. But no.
That's classic for you, though.
To be a part of such an evening was really very humbling, and what made it really special was that another member that went in to the Hall of Fame was Richard Risbrut, also from Ashby. A couple of little old farm boys from Ashby going into the big town and being recognized for some things that we just love to do.
Now, before we wrap up, why don't you tell me some of your favorite Concordia moments doing Cobber football games?
Well, we have been a part of so many that every year that goes by seems to add 1 or 2 or 3 more memories to the pile that has already taken place. But we have seen some great stories, some great plays, some great team plays, some disappointments along the way as well. I'm sure that one thing that will always stick out is the play that Concordia was in the playoffs and played at Augustana, Illinois, against a team that was just maybe quicker on the special teams. But that was the determining factor in that one. It was on a muddy, rainy field. For some reason, all of that stays with me. Coach Horan was there and was a part of that operation as well. And then also going to Oregon and playing in a playoff game out there. And that was a real head knocker. That was a great football game. Cobbers came up just a little bit short on that one. And then to see someone like Chad Johnson, who is just an outstanding football player, outstanding athlete, do his thing as well as he has done, and with such high regard to integrity.
Yes.
That's what I appreciate about it.
Yeah. Well, someday someone needs to really pick your brain and
Well,
write
it
a
isn't going to
book.
take long, Norm.
Write a book on all just the vivid memory you have of Cobber football over the past 30 some odd years.
30 some odd years, yeah. And it's I hate to put it in this perspective, but Concordia is celebrating 100 years. You put in 30, 35 years, that's 1/3.
Yeah.
That's 1/3. But then we've got Dave Klug just down the hall, and he's been here for 50% of those years as well. So when people come to Concordia, they stick around.
I hear you. It's a great place to work.
Yeah.
It really is. That was legendary broadcaster Larry Knutson.
It's awesome to block for a guy like Chad. You don't have to give him much of a hole, and he's gone. You just got to get him a seam. It makes our job really easy and makes us look good.
Well, Terry, Augsburg's coming to town. Their record 3-4. It's not what they would hope to have it, but they are still a good team.
Oh yeah, they very much so. Frank Hagee and his staff, they've been together for a while. They do a great job. Drew Prevette, his offensive coordinator. Drew and I played against each other. We were both receivers. Drew was from Augsburg, so he's back at his alma mater. He's never really left his alma mater, but these guys are always athletic. I mean, they put 25 points up on St. Thomas. These guys can score. They can score in bunches. And, against St. Olaf last week, I know they would love to have that one back. They had 3 or 4 turnovers when they were in some scoring territory. And this is a football team that's athletic, and it doesn't matter what their record is. And we need to understand that and have our team ready to go.
The Cobbers take on the Augsburg Augies at 1 o'clock at the Jake. This has been the Concordia College Football Show with Coach Terry Horan.